Hi, welcome. It's Jenny from A Stamping Journey. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Wollongong, just south of Sydney, Australia. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing 5 ways with the gorgeous Eden's Garden Suite. I've had so much fun playing with this suite. Of course, I've made a lot more than 5, and you can catch other projects on my blog or Facebook as I post them. But I've picked out 5 cards for you. So make sure you stay to the end. I'm going to create one with you first, as I wanted to share some tips when creating it. So let's get started. Just a reminder that if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell so you can catch later projects as I share them. And give it a like if you like it. On Facebook, do like and share it with your friends. If you're in Australia, any of the products that you see are available in my store, and the link is in the description on YouTube, and you can find me on Facebook. So let's get into it. This first card, I'm using the cotton paper. There's a few tips in using it, so that's why I wanted to particularly share this card with you. I really love this Eden Garden Suite. It's a distinctive style stamp, so you're going to get that toning differences when you stamp it. And the sentiments are really lovely. So we'll need a soft succulent card base. This is just a standard size card base. We have evening evergreen card mat and whisper white card. Each of these pieces are 4 millimeters smaller, or 1/8 of an inch. So we'll just put our card base aside for the moment and get stamping with, on our white card piece, we're using this large floral stamp. And I'm going to use Evening Evergreen and just ink it up and stamp a couple of these flowers. Just want to give it a good pat and always check it, because sometimes you get these bit of ink line around it. So we'll give that a stamp there. We're just going to move that out of the way so we don't get ink on that. And you just want to ink it up again. Now we'll get that ink out of the way and bring in our soft succulent. Now in this stamp set there are 4 different leaf styles, which is really lovely. You can use them all together or just pick out one. I'm using this wispy type leaf for this card, and I'm going to use the soft succulent. Just add a few wispy leaves. Just check you don't have any of the ink around the edge. That just gives you your shadow line if you're going to, when you go to stamp. So just get a tissue and wipe it off. Add a couple around your card. Now this tissue paper is what I wanted to mention. It's cotton paper, but it's very like tissue paper. So I've just cut 2 lengths of the soft succulent and the evening evergreen. And what I've done is torn the edge. Do you remember back in the day before we had the die cut machine? We used to tear card and do everything. I thought I'd bring that back on this card. But what you'll find is when you tear it, you're going to give a different result. It will just bring in a scrap piece. If you tear it forward, you're just going to get a little bit more wispier look. You can pull out the strands a bit more. Where if you go tear it backwards, it just goes a little bit straighter. So just think about which way you're going to tear it. So I'm just going to tear it forward because I wanted that little bit of a wispier effect. You don't have to tear it a particular way. Don't stress about how you tear it. Just tear it away. And you can see there it's wispier, and you can even accentuate that by pulling out the edge of the card, making that even more wispier. I hope you can see that. And we're going to do the same with the soft succulent piece. Just tear it forward. So we'll get there, and we can just pull out those threads there. If you're not happy with it, you can just give it a little bit of a tear, a bit more. We're just going to go with that for now. I might just pull out this little bit, pointy bit here though. And then we're just going to stick that down. Now, just being careful when you stick that down. You want to give it a good coverage over it. So the width, I've just cut this cotton paper to the width of the white card. So just line it to the bottom edge of it. If you want to trim off a bit so you don't get as much of that covered, you can, or we can just give that a little bit more of a tear down there. Don't know how well it's going to tear now that we've glued it, but just so you can see more of that pretty flower. See, there's no right or wrong way how you tear it though. And the same with your soft succulent piece. And that can just go underneath. You can always take it off the edge of the card and you can trim that up afterwards, just so you can see a bit of both of the colours. While that's drying, we're going to do the sentiment. So I have already cut a small piece of white to the size. It's just so it can fit inside this die cut sentiment piece. I love the detail in the ends of this piece. It's really decorative. Just adds something extra to your card. So the sentiment, we don't have a happy birthday in this scent. You could easily use one of the sentiments, but I've just pulled out a happy birthday. I'm using the Blossoms in Bloom stamp set for this one. It's got some nice sentiments that will fit in this piece. So to stamp that, you're going to use your black Memento ink and give that a bit of stamp. And let's hope it's straight. And that's okay. We can all breathe a sigh of relief. That will be good enough. Now, while we're talking about the cotton paper, I just wanted to show some other things you can do with it while this is drying. For this, I have die cut some scallop circles. This is using the layering circles dies, so you can make them any size. I've got a scallop edge on this one, but you could use a straight circle edge. You could even tear the cotton paper in a circle, and that'll give it a really rough, rustic edge, which would really look cool. But what I've done, I think I cut 4 circles, and I've just added a dab of glue in the center of each, layered them on. You could also put a piece a hole in it with a brad, and then each individual layer is crimped up to make a flower, and you can stick that on top of a gift or on a card. You can make one in the evening evergreen as well. You can multicolour a flower as well. So that's a very easy way of using the cotton paper as well, which is cool. I've got another card which I've used some of the paper on, which I'll show you shortly. So now we'll glue this together. Just got a couple of little sticky dabs on there which has spread the ink, but we'll tidy that up afterwards. Now we can just give that a trim. You can use your paper trimmer or just grab some scissors and trim that up where it's overhanging. It's not very much. There you go. So you can trim it down, or because it's only a little bit, I've also just folded along to straighten the edge as well. Now we can stick it to our card mat. Now I also have a strip of the designer series paper. You could use either side. It'll look all right. I'm just using the little checkered pattern. Just give that a glue. And now we want to put it on our soft succulent base. Add adhesive on there. We'll just use dimensionals for the back of this sentiment piece. So you just use 3 across there is enough. Add that down the bottom. Now, we can't not have bling, can we? Let's add a little bit of this bling to it. So we'll just, these are the new garden gems. They're beautiful. They're, I don't even know what shape you'd call it, but an oblong shape for the soft succulent. And these are sort of a combination of the evening evergreen cherry cobbler. It gives it a really lovely sparkle. So I'm just using a couple of different sizes for this, and it's always good to use rule of 3 is always when you're creating, so, or odd numbers, but particularly for the gems we're just going to do 3 gems and just position them around. We'll leave that there on your card. So there is one of the Eden's Gardens cards, particularly using this cotton paper. So let's have a look at a few more. So this one, you may not see it, but I have used the cotton paper as a banner edge under this beautiful paper. Isn't it beautiful, that gold finish on it? So I've cut a strip, I've cut into the banner and I crumpled it up and then opened it out to get a little bit of that shabby, I guess, edge. And there's a mat with the textiles embossing folder. The paper is gorgeous, really. It's a limited time for this paper and I really don't want you to miss out on it. It's so beautiful. Now this one, I made it into a Christmas card. This one, I cut the large die which is really lovely. And the sentiment for this one is from the Merriest Moments stamp set that I've stamped on with some of the paper. The red rhinestones just to give it more of a Christmas sparkle. This is one from our class last week when we focused on the Eden's Garden set. And what I particularly wanted to show you is I've actually die cut this, I guess, leafy die cut. I cut from the soft succulent, but I left the center in there. You might see it. Then cut another one with the evening evergreen and adhered over that. Just so then you get the two different shadings of it. Just some evening evergreen ribbon and one of those oblong gems. So I think everyone loved that at class. We did a number of different cards. And this was another one from class. This is a Dutch door card. So using some of the paper, and the sentiment from this is from, I don't have a thing from it. It's from Art Gallery set with those floral dies. And inside, you open up and I've just stamped a couple of those flowers, so it gives you plenty of room to write inside it. So that's a double door card, double Dutch door card. That's a double Dutch fold card. Let's get that right. And that gold trim. So 5 different cards. I have so many more that I'll be sharing on my blog too. So let's bring them down so you can see them all. I'd love to know what is your favourite card. Let me know in the comments. And I hope you've liked those cards. Be sure to grab that paper. The stamp set, Eden's Garden stamp set, and the dies will be carried over into the next January catalogue, but you won't get the paper or the gems too. They're not carried over. So I hope you've liked these cards. I've really loved creating with it. Much more to come, I think, too. And thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.